Coming up next on Wink News at 11, building comes to a halt in one part of southwest Florida.
Walking around town is about to get a whole lot safer in parts of Lee County.
And the verdict is in for a man accused of threatening the governor and a judge. Wink News at 11 starts now.
You're watching Wink News, Southwest Florida's news leader. This is Wink News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Jim McLaughlin.
And I'm Lois Tomey. Collier County Commissioners make a landmark decision tonight imposing a building moratorium.
Commissioners voted to stop building in the Vanderbilt Beach area for 1 year. Wink News reporter Valerie Boy is in Naples with tonight's top story.
Well, many people were very pleased with tonight's vote. Around 100 people turned out to ask commissioners to approve the moratorium. They say there's just too much growth in the Vanderbilt Beach area.
With new high-rises being built in the Vanderbilt Beach area, residents say it's making it difficult to get around.
There's so much traffic.
Neighbors Chip Doherty and Bill Young feel like they live off a drag strip because of drivers who speed.
The traffic is excessive because of the new developments.
This is excessive. This is a neighborhood, a lot of children here, and it's dangerous.
Commissioners approved a building moratorium for 1 year while county planners study the area.
For us to conduct a study on intensity and density of use in that area, which includes things, traffic considerations, health, safety, and welfare issues.
Some residents spoke out about the need for a moratorium.
It's a constant effort for us just to move in that area.
Evacuation would be a terrible problem.
But developers say the same rules have been in place the last 30 years and should not be changed now.
While we don't agree with the moratorium, we would ask that we be permitted to be a part of the study as well.
I can sit here.
Chip Doherty and Bill Young say they're not against development, but would like improvements made to slow traffic.
Sometimes to cross the street could take literally 10 minutes to cross the street.
And commissioners say people can still repair their homes or change their entrance ways. If a home is also damaged in a disaster, they can also rebuild.
Valerie, what about projects that have already been approved? Are they going to have to stop?
No, in fact, there are 2 projects that were approved ahead of time, so they will keep going.
All right, thanks very much, Valerie.
Collier County residents who park their cars in their front yard may face a fine. Tonight, Collier commissioners approved a parking ordinance that would only allow residents to park in their driveway. Some complained cars were littering yards and bringing down property values. For a single-family home, a driveway surface is not supposed to cover more than 20% of the front yard. Some residents may be exempt from the ordinance if there is proper zoning. People are also allowed to park in backyards. Collier County Commissioners say they plan to help people in Immokalee who have their homes condemned. The county is trying to remove dilapidated mobile homes because they aren't safe for people to live in. People who don't have their mobile homes repaired or removed could face daily fines from code enforcement officers. Commissioner Jim Coletta says he's looking into helping residents get low-cost loans for new homes so they'll have a safe place to live. Well, Florida ranks second in the nation per capita in pedestrian deaths.
And Lee County is doing what it can to change that statistic by building more sidewalks. Wink News reporter Jeff Goldberg joins us now in Lee County. Jeff, where are these sidewalks going?
Well, Jim, it's happening from Pine Island to San Carlos Park and here east of Fort Myers off Ballard Road. If you take a look at the side of the road here, you can see how difficult it might be for someone who's elderly or disabled to get from where they want to go on the side of the road, especially with the area being so close to oncoming cars. But for every sidewalk that the county builds, there are many people who believe that there's always need for more. As an avid runner and cyclist, Dan Moser enjoys the recreational benefits of sidewalks. But as an activist, he's working to build sidewalks for people who need them to get around.
People that don't choose to have a car or can't afford a car or can't drive for one reason. They're too old, they're too young, they have a disability or something like that. That's what really matters.
Lee County has 400 miles of sidewalks and bike paths. They line about half the county's major roads. Now, the county is spending more than $300,000 to add 1.5 miles in sidewalks. The county will build a sidewalk over this section of railroad tracks in San Carlos Park. Sidewalk advocates say this is critical for disabled people who would otherwise have a very difficult time getting across. But not all areas have sidewalks, like Deborah Walden's South Lee County neighborhood. She'd be a lot happier if her 2 sons could play on a sidewalk next to the street rather than on the street.
Because of the cars, a lot of the cars go fast. And if there was a sidewalk, I think they would stay away from the sidewalk. That way we would feel more comfortable walking on the sidewalk.
Dan Moser blames the lack of sidewalks on a lack of planning. He says sprawl favors cars. Now Dan is working for a more condensed Lee County where the sidewalks never end.
There's a whole lot of damage to undo, and it starts, I think, with the whole neighborhood concept, and I'm hoping that it's going to spread.
It costs the county about $200,000 a mile to lay down sidewalks, and you can see it'd be especially difficult and expensive in areas like this where they actually have to raise the side of the road to the level of the road before they can even lay down a sidewalk. But sidewalks will be coming to this area and to 5 other Lee County areas within 6 months. Jim?
All right, thanks very much, Jeff. Well, also residents in South Lee County are taking a strong interest in the development of a new park. The 55-acre park is set to go up in the area south of Corkscrew Road, east of US 41, and west of Estero High School. Many residents from the area attended the first in a series of public meetings tonight to discuss plans for the new park. The meetings will allow residents to decide what they'd like to see in the park. Some people hope the park will best serve kids.
I think if we give kids the opportunity to have places to go and get rid of some of their energy, maybe it will be used to a more constructive purpose.
The county has almost $3 million to spend on the park. Construction should begin in about a year and a half.
Well, we will be warming up a little bit tonight.
But it still will be a little cooler than normal. Let's check first weather with Dave Roberts.
That's right, but you know what? The warming trend is right around the corner. Warmer temperatures on the way. Still kind of a cool night out there tonight. Temperatures down into the 40s and 50s statewide. Orlando at 40 degrees. And this kind of shows you where the center of the cold air is. Right over central Florida right now. If you notice, the panhandle is actually running warmer than what we're seeing right now here. So what's happening is that the colder air is starting to shift eastward. That's certainly a good sign, the beginning of a warming trend, and maybe a chance for even a little rain for us as a front starts to drop out of the Midwest and move into parts of the southeast. I'll be back with the complete forecast in a few minutes.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. Well, a Collier County man defending himself in a controversial trial wins his case.
Larry Parks faced charges of threatening the governor and a judge. As Wink reporter Camden Smith explains, Parks says the fight's not over yet.
After 3 months in jail, Larry Parks walks free thanks to himself.
So how's it feel to be out?
It's freedom. If I had a public defender, I'd still be in jail.
Parks acted as his own attorney, defending letters he sent to the governor and Collier Judge Ted Brousseau. Parks blamed Brousseau for allowing the county to sell his family's property to pay off code violations worth more than $1 million. Parks says someone else wrote the threatening letters that said the Florida militia might shoot and kill Judge Brousseau. He did admit those were his thoughts.
They said Larry Parks wrote threatening letters. Why the hell didn't they get a handwriting expert? Because
you're saying you still didn't write them?
I didn't write the ones that was mailed and the one I delivered. I'm not stupid.
The jury listened to 3 tapes of Parks talking to investigators about how a gunfight might be his only answer. But jurors seem to have a problem with the fact Parks didn't know he was being taped, and he never made any direct threats.
I didn't threaten anybody. You know, I aired my displeasure. I've aired my displeasure many times.
Parks believes his acquittal could make it easier for others to voice frustration without the worry of consequences.
This is not over. This incident is not over.
Parks told Wink News he plans to go after his family's property now that he's out of jail. In Collier County, Camden Smith, Wink News.
Prosecutor would not comment on today's verdict.
A search and rescue mission continues in Pakistan, where a U.S. military plane carrying at least 7 Marines crashed. This tops our coverage. America fights back. The aircraft crashed into a mountain. This is video of the type of aircraft that crashed. The transport plane, a KC-130, carries large amounts of fuel and is typically used to refuel helicopters in flight. But it's also used for troop and cargo delivery. President Bush says the U.S. military plane crash in Pakistan was a reminder of how serious the times are. And a U.S. jet crashed on the deck of the USS Theodore Roosevelt today. Witnesses say the jet sprayed sparks as it skidded to a halt. No injuries were reported.
The federal judge is considering whether to allow cameras inside the courtroom for the first September 11th terrorism suspect trial. Zacharias Moussaoui faces 6 conspiracy charges. 4 of those charges carry the death penalty. The judge says the trial could have a chilling effect on witnesses. It'll be at least next week before a decision will be made about allowing cameras in the courtroom. Jury selection is expected to begin September 30th. The trial is supposed to start on October 14th. A Collier County man will help coordinate a new domestic security task force. Starting February 1st, Collier County Emergency Services Division Administrator Tom Storer will be part of that new task force. The task force was created after the attacks on America in September. The store will coordinate Region 6. That covers 9 Southwest Florida counties.
Well, still to come on Week News at 11, young criminals who do time in adult prisons may be destined to commit more crimes. We'll tell you why.
And when does a woman's biological clock stop ticking? We'll have the results of a new fertility study.
I'm Tom Crichton. Coming up in sports,
50 available, starting at just $9.95. Payments from $139 a month. Every car will be marked with auction prices. Get to Sam Galloway Ford before these cars.
Right now during clearance, just $4.50.